And so how do I know this? Who am I? Who am I to be telling you all of these things? If you don't already know, my name is Abby. I am now a personal trainer and nutrition coach, but I was at one time much heavier than I am now. I was at least 220 pounds, and I spent at least 5 years troubleshooting and researching and doing all kinds of different things to try and figure out the fat loss puzzle. I became obsessed. Like it was the thing that made me happy or not in my everyday life, because generally I was just miserable every day. So I spent about 5 years with no success on getting any of the results that I wanted to. I felt like everything under the sun. I tried extreme exercise, I tried extreme cardio, I tried extreme dieting, I tried vegan, I tried keto, I tried high carb, low fat, I tried so many things. I even started going to doctors and having tests done because I felt like something was wrong with me. I felt like I was broken, and I just couldn't figure out what the problem was, why I couldn't get this. And it really came down to the fact that I just didn't understand the science behind fat loss and what was the most important thing to know about it in order to get where I needed to go. Because I was just burning the candle at both ends, not eating little to nothing, while also doing extreme exercise and things. My body was very confused. I was very worn out. I had an infant going through that whole process. And it was not working for me. I mean, I set out to find the secret to fat loss. That's what I call it, because it just seems to be hidden. It's like it's hidden in plain sight. And once I found it out, I wanted to share it with as many people as I could. So here we are, by employing the absolute, the bare bones of this. I lost over 60 pounds over the course of 18 months, so a fraction of the time that I spent finding out what the actual important stuff was, and then later went to lose 20 more pounds 6 months later, all while I maintained quite a bit of muscle, and I did it without hunger. And surprisingly, it is possible. So I want to save you the time and energy. I'm going to teach you the 80-20 of fat loss here. And that is, if you're not familiar with the 80-20 principle, it is the idea that 20% of your work yields you 80% of your results. And so far, it sounds like 80% of our work has been yielding 20% of the results. And so we're going to try and flip that here so that you understand what it is that is the most important to get you where you want to go. So what we will learn here is the science of fat loss, how it pertains to you, how it pertains to absolutely everyone, because you just can't get around these. They're laws, they're physics. It's undoubtable. And then change your life. Make it so that you feel capable and confident, so that you feel comfortable in your skin, happy with what you've done, happy to know that if you want to do it again, you can. If you want to take it further, you can. If you want to undo it, you can. Just truly embody a shapeshifter in generally, understanding what it takes to change your body shape and size to get where you would like to go. Of course, there are limiting factors. Genetics will play a part, but if general fat loss is what you want, and muscle gain, these can be applied to muscle gain as well, then we can do that. So that confidence and capability that you feel, I can attest, translates into every part of your life. If we do not follow these things through to the end, then it bleeds into the capability that you have in other areas of your life. When you feel comfortable and happy and capable in your abilities, you generally perform better in every area of your life. Your family life, your work life. Just going out and enjoying life, it becomes much more fruitful because you just feel more like a whole human being and not just the shadow of one, okay? Not feeling like you aren't where you're supposed to be. I'm feeling, and even as you age, you feel better because you know what you've accomplished with the time that you've been given. So hang in there with me, bear with me, make it through to the end, please. I'll have more trainings coming as well if you need additional help to piece everything together. You can possibly find them already. Maybe you've heard about them. But with that, we're gonna plow on right through into the next portion, which is myths. Okay. Here we're going to outline the myths that are inherently some of the biggest obstacles that you find, especially on social media. Things that people tell you or have you bought into that just aren't true and inherently damage your own journey. They damaged mine. So these things, I have 4 of them for you, okay? The first one is a big one, which is the truth that saying that you don't lose weight in a deficit is like saying rocks don't fall when you throw them. We'll get more in the next portion after our myths. I will go ahead and break this down for you more further. But this is it's a law of science. It's the law of thermodynamics. We understand that energy cannot be created nor destroyed. And therefore, when energy comes into the body, it must also be expelled. And so the word deficit means that you are at a lack of energy than what you are using, okay? That means that if we haven't been losing, the 99% chance is just that we haven't actually been in a deficit. And there are other factors that play into that. It's not your fault. There are things like metabolic adaptation play a role here, possibly hormones. Very few people fall within this window, but that is generally what it is. There's a very small fraction of individuals who actually have a hormone imbalance that may be kind of tipping the scales a bit in a way, but this principle still applies. The hormones don't just create energy or just burn it out of nowhere. It needs to be compensated somewhere, somehow. So, food is fuel, movement burns energy. It's possible that those two things just were not lining up well if for some reason you were trying to achieve a deficit and did not. What we're going to do is get further into the numbers on this one so that you can truly understand whether or not you are in a deficit, as opposed to just kind of shooting in the dark and guessing. My second biggest myth is that carbs are the devil, fats are the devil, sugars are the devil. The truth is that they are not the problem. The truth is that these things, they all have different qualities of energy. And once you understand the quality of energy that they have, you have a better idea of why some people may want to eat more or less of them over time. And also some people's hormones and bodies just prefer some things over others. Some people metabolize fats a little better. Some people metabolize carbs a little better. But generally, they all have the same general energy component to them. And therefore, if you keep track of them, you can allow yourself to have a balance of those things. You don't have to cut anything out. Any diet that tells you to cut anything out 100% is just probably not the way to go, just the studies have shown. So vie away from that thinking, because there are no like inherently evil or bad foods that just shouldn't ever be consumed. Those aren't the problem necessarily. Once we know the quality of them and the quantity of them, typically moderation for anything and everything is okay. And then myth number 3 that I have for you is that I need to put this here and this here so that I can say it more easily without having to really look for it, because you don't want to sit and watch me try to pick things through. Let me write down what time that was. 9:50. tell me how long I need to take this out. Myth number 3 is that your metabolism slows down or speeds up on a whim. Okay, this is usually a subconscious change that happens, especially with metabolic adaptation, but it can be adjusted for. And you yourself can have a pretty good picture on what your metabolism is, but you have to be willing to take the time to find it. You have to be willing to take the time to be consistent. Because if you are not consistent and you are not keeping track of these different variables that maintain your metabolism, then it just becomes another mysterious thing that we have and feel like we don't have control over. Because generally your metabolism is established by how much you move in a day and how much you eat. It's more of that calories in versus calories out. And therefore, we want to be, if we're really wanting to have sustainable, predictable results, we need to be moving and acting in a way that is sustainable and predictable. And not to mention fulfilling. That comes with having your ducks in a row and understanding what's going on. That part comes later. Things like muscle can help your metabolism be more sped up, if you want to use those words. It means that your body passively burns more energy throughout the day when you're sleeping, things like that. Muscle is one of those more energy expensive things to have on the body. So that is why you will see so many experts tell you that you need to have an exercise regimen, preferably a resistance training, because having muscle is one of the most beneficial things that you can do for yourself and your metabolism and your body as you age. So if we've struggled to maintain a deficit or keep a deficit, it's likely that we've moved less. We might not realize it, but we start to move less. We start to use energy less in other areas. We'll go ahead and get more into that farther down the line, because I've got one more myth for you, and that is that your diet is temporary. Now, don't get scared by me saying that, okay? I'm not saying you have to diet forever. I just want you to instead shift your thinking from your diet being a temporary change, okay? And what I mean by that is your diet is what you eat naturally. Your diet is not some adjustment that you're going to make for 3 months until you hit your goal. Your diet is what you enjoy eating and what helps you feel full and satiated. We need this portion as well, very much for the fulfilling part, because we want to make lasting, sustainable changes that we can stick with. We don't want it to be something that's just going to end and we go back to doing all the old things that we used to do. There needs to be a give and take here in terms of the things that you are willing to do to get you where you want to go, things you're willing to give up in a way. Not 100%. You don't need to give up things 100%. You eventually may decide you want to, but you just don't want to go into it thinking that I only have to do this thing for 3 months. Likelihood, what's going to happen, or in order to sustain your results, is that you're going to be doing half of what you used to do and half of what you're doing for the change in order to stay somewhere in the middle-ish. Okay? So it's just comes with building habits and enjoying the process that's going to get you there and keep it long term. And so that is it for our myths. And so that is it for our myths for now. Congratulations, you've made it through the first portion here. And in the next portion, we're going to go ahead and get into the mechanics, the actual outline for how we are going to find our roadmap, our starting line, our journey, and then our finish line for our fat loss phase, so that you can to attain predictable, sustainable, fulfilling fat loss. Okay? I'll see you in the next one.